2018 Board of Selectmen regular meeting to order. Roll call, Happy Tendridge.
Virginia San Pietro.
Item number 3, to approve the meeting minutes from April 23rd, 2018.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried to approve the meeting minutes from April 23rd, 2018. Item number 4 is old business. At this time, there is no old business. Item number 5, new business. So item number 1 is to appoint the member to the Board of Selectmen. So at this time, we'd like to announce the person that we will be appointing as Board of Selectmen. We did hold interviews, and we interviewed with 2 different people face to face, and one person over the phone who's very prominent in our town. And then, of course, the person that we are appointing tonight as Board of Selectmen is Madeline Prasidlo. She will be taking over as 3rd Selectman in honor of her husband. Madeline is the driving force, has been the driving force behind George. She's very involved in the town, knowing what's going on. And it was a hard decision to make, but Madeline, I really do think, is the best person to fill this position as selectman. So Madeline Prasidlo.
I'll make that nomination for Madeline Prasidlo.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It has been approved to appoint Madeline Prasidlo as 3rd Selectman to replace George Prasidlo. Item number 2 is to consider an act on the tax refunds as requested by the tax collector. There is a total of $1,172.97. For Alley Financial, $1,041.95. Ford Credit is $26.66. And Angela Lamori is $104.36. So I would need a motion to act on the tax refunds as requested by the tax collector.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I'm sorry, I didn't say aye. Opposed? Motion carried to consider an act on the tax refunds requested by the tax collector in the total amount of $1,172.97. Item number 3 is to appoint additional members to the Charter Revision Commission by resolution. So at this time, I would like a motion to accept Bill Stitch, who is a Republican, Nadine Hoyt, who is a Democrat, Paul Smith, who is a Democrat, and Michael LaValle, who is a Democrat. I would like a motion to add the additional members by resolution to the Charter Revision Commission. Is there any questions or anything, Virginia?
No, I think these are good members, some that have had experience before. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried to add the members to the Charter Revision Commission by resolution of Bill Stitch, Republican, Nadine Hoyt, Democrat, Paul Smith, Democrat, and Michael LaValle, Democrat. So at this time, I would need a motion to add to our agenda.
Yes, all right. I'll make a motion to add a resolution regarding entering agreement with the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security.
And what this resolution, oh, I'm sorry. Are there any questions or?
I have it right in front of me, so I don't have any questions.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried to approve the resolution for the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Item number 5 would be other, and at this time there is no other. And now we are going to open the floor for public comment. So if anybody has any questions, comments? Okay, I'm sorry, so I need to back up. Yes. So we need to, I'm sorry, I have 4 meetings tonight right in a row, so I'm sorry. We need a motion to act and approve the resolution for the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security.
All right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve the resolution and act on the resolution for the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. So now we will move on to other. There's no other, and now we will open the floor for public comment.
Kathy, I think you were about to explain very quickly what that resolution was, because I know you clarified it was for emergency management, Department of Homeland Security, but exactly on that document, what is that? What is it that you went to resolution on?
So what that says is that Kathy M. Tenrich, as the first selectman of the town of Plainfield, is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents on behalf of the town of Plainfield, and to do and perform all acts and things which she deems to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such documents, including but not limited to executing and delivering all agreements and documents contemplated by such documents. So in case of an emergency, I have the power to act.
Thank you, I believe that clarified this.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tom. So now we will open the floor for
Okay,
public.
Sue Hall. Who were the other candidates for for third selectman?
There was Carol Ann Rowe, Archie Lapierre, and Kevin Cunningham.
And who are the, when you selected candidates, the first group, none of those people that you rejected came back on as the new people? Because who were the people that wanted to be on the charter revision that you didn't choose?
Okay, you're asking 2 questions.
Right.
Okay, so you're finished with the selectman question? You
Right.
asked for the candidates for selectmen,
Right,
and then you said, and the
Charter
first group of
revision.
people?
right. Because originally you had more that were interested, but you only chose 5.
So is your question for the
Who-
people on the charter commission, then who were the previous people who
Right,
applied?
and were any of those added to your new, any of those people, the new people?
Everybody was taken into consideration. Kevin Cunningham was, and Peter Corey, which the only reason I know Peter Corey was interested in is because of the meeting that he was here, and he said he showed interest. The reason why we picked the people we did is Mr. Stitch has also served on Charter Commission for the town of Plainfield. Nadine Hoyt has been an employee of the town and knows the Charter Commission probably better than any of us. Paul Smith is an attorney who has been in town for many years, and at one time, and Louisa, maybe you can correct me, he was the town attorney, if I recall, at one point. I'm not sure, this was years ago.
Maybe years ago, but he's very familiar with the town and the charter.
Because you can have the minimum of 5 and the maximum of 15.
Yes.
Because there are people, there were some of your people that you interviewed that I think had some skills and knowledge that would have been complementary to the Charter Commission. And I also feel that Charter Commission should continue. I think it's a continuous thing year after year, because you can't put on, you have so many of the ordinances that you can put on, and then you said you can't put them all on due to the size of the paper.
And that's one of the things that we did talk about,
Continuing
is that
on
continuing.
For the next year.
But the only thing is that it doesn't mean that every year that it continues, that the same people are gonna want to be on that commission. This may be a one-time because it is time-consuming. So it says that you should do it every 5 years, but when we were talking, we said that it really should be done more than every 5 years, because there's more that needs to be done. So that does not mean the same people who are on it now will be on it if we
Well,
go
that's all
in
right,
a
because
year.
you're gonna keep notes, and you're gonna have at
Yes.
least 5 that you're not gonna be able to put on,
Right.
that you have investigated and got lawyer's opinion and wording, that I would go right into the following year for the next, and have it on as all those questions taken care of.
And that's what our goal
I
is.
wouldn't wait 3 years.
Yes.
Lisa Drake, this town clerk. I just want to add, though, that certainly we have talked about developing another charter revision commission, but it would have to be different because the statute only allows you so many months. I think it's 16 months maybe. So it has to be disbanded after that time, and you would just start a new commission.
Thank you, Louisa.
June Gagnon, I just wondered why you picked 5 new people to add to
Because
it.
after-
Was it legal?
After minute, yes.
Legal
After
reason.
Mr. Cunningham brought to our attention,
Yeah.
even though we had been approved, the attorney had said yes, that that's a good group of people. One of the people that he had concerns about, the attorney said, no, that's library, that has nothing to do with it. But he did say that, and Louisa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, originally, the chief of police who is on the charter commission, he is an employee of the town, yes, but originally, he could have been on it because he's not, and Louisa, please correct me if I'm wrong, but now, going through the statutes and looking more, he said because if he's an appointed person, that we should add more. And you can add more people to your charter commission right up until you do submit the draft to Louisa. So if we still wanted to add more people, we can, until the draft is submitted to Louisa.
But we don't have a lot of time with this one.
No, but I think, like Kathy said, we had gone through the attorney on this group of 5 people, and then apparently Mr. Cunningham had a comment about the makeup of the committee. And we went by our code of ethics, which differentiates between a public official and a public employee. And Michael we considered him a public employee, and Lou Sawyer, we considered him a public employee. But the attorney told us that if somebody pushed it, it could possibly be a question. So rather than taking that chance, Kathy reached out to some people who had shown some interest. And they all agreed, and none of them are public officials or public employees either. So that'll balance out. It's 4 new members, not 5. And that'll add to the 5 we have now for a total of 9. And so if you considered Lou Sawyer, who is now retired, and Michael Supernaut as public officials, or at the time of appointment public officials, we will follow statute by having 1/3, or not more than 1/3 being public officials. So, and yes, the attorney said it was okay because there have actually been no votes taken yet among the commission members. It's all been discussion. And so until votes are taken, like Kathy said, you can add members.
And there's 3 Democrats and 1 Republican?
Yes.
Is there any reason to go by parties?
There's 2.
Not in the total group, the new ones that were
Yeah, the
just
new ones as
brought
well.
on, are 3 Democrats and 1 Republican. So it still keeps our ratio of what we need.
Yes, there is
The total.
a minority representation and that is allowed.
Even for the charter revision, you have
Oh.
to have the political lines in there?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. All commission, all appointed and elected positions and boards.
Right, okay.
Naomi Smith, is there a reason why Kevin was not chosen, seeing how he brought this to the attention of your board? And he has such experience with it, and there's still open room available for the board? Why wait till a later date? Why not? Like, why wasn't he added as well as the other members?
Well,
I mean, he does
again-
have a lot of experience and knowledge with the charter, obviously, because he brought this as a potential.
Right. So yes, again, what we did is we interviewed these people, talked to them, their experience. We wanted to make sure, because again, a group that's too big, a lot of times you don't get what you need to get
I just don't
done
think there'd be much
accomplished.
of a difference between 9
And-
and 11.
And again, Mr. Cunningham has served. He's been on, yes, the Charter Commission, but I think that we're trying to move the town of Plainfield in a positive.
But Lucia
Position
has served as well,
forward.
many members have served.
um,
That should not be.
So again, he was not one of our first choices.
Mark
Yes.
Gagney, Jackson Road.
Yeah,
You still didn't really answer, because,
why he wasn't chosen?
yes, because you're saying that he's gonna come onto the board and be negative? He's the one that came to you and
No,
said,
those
do
are
this.
your words.
correct." No, you just said, we want people to come onto the board and be positive. You just said that. You want me to stop it and rerun
I
it?
said I wanted to move the town of Plainfield in a positive direction.
So what, are you indicating that Kevin Cunningham is not
It's inferring.
going to do that?
No, that's not.
He wants, I know because he's talked to you, sent you emails, he wanted to be on the Charter Revision Committee because of his experience and his knowledge to move Plainfield forward in a positive direction.
I
So,
realize that.
I'm asking you now, why didn't you select him?
Because we chose who we felt would be the best people for the Charter Commission. And we have an attorney, we have another person who has served on
They
the
s-
Charter Commission.
These people, you went to the attorney, did he say Kevin wouldn't be a good choice, or?
No,
How did you determine this? Because in my opinion, I know what this man knows. He would be excellent for the Charter Revision Committee. He would have been excellent for third selectman too.
He knows more than...
I want to know the real reason. I mean, this is,
You know what?
he's just as good as any of
this
the
is
4
not
you
a
just
debate.
picked.
It is a choice by the Board of
Okay.
Selectmen, and
Okay.
that is the choice that we made in the best interest. We feel we chose the best in the best interest of the town. And I'm sorry if you disagree with that.
What we really disagree with is the selectman choice. He would have bounced
helped you
you
so well.
right out. That's what we really disagree.
He would have helped.
Madeline hasn't been to anything. I don't ever see her. That was just an emotional choice.
No, that was not an emotional choice.
Well, we'll see how it goes. That's our opinion, that's yours.
Is there any other public comment? No other public comment?
Kathy, I'd just like to say that we elected you, and I think you're doing a great job. And I think that you're making the decisions that you think are correct for the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Would you like to take a vote on that, show of hands?
No.
Oh,
We already did.
Well, and you know what? We did have a vote. We had a public vote, and I am sitting in the selectman's seat, and I'm sorry, I am not your choice, but I am the choice of the majority of the people in Plainfield.
I respect you, for the seat you hold,
For what, I'm sorry?
the seat you hold.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I respect all of your
Nobody-
citizens to voice your opinion. So if there is any other public comment at this time,
Matt Ray Andalusa. Just looking at the town calendar for the last few weeks, I noticed there were charter revision cancellations for the meetings. I was just curious as to why, if the selection of additional members was the reason for that, or?
no, that was not the reason why it was canceled. And again, I am not the charter chairman. It should come from him. But I do believe because there weren't going to be enough people present at that meeting, enough members could not make
I
that.
couldn't get a quorum. Thank you.
This is the comment. You say that you respect our opinions, but sometimes maybe we're feeling like they're not hearing us. So, just something to take into consideration.
Thank you. Any other public comment? So at this time,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting of May 29th, Board of Selectmen meeting adjourned at 7:21 PM.